What is going on, everyone? I know you're sick and tired of seeing the Rubik's Cubes in the background, but they just add a little bit more flair to the video, a little bit more spunk. But lately, I've been using iOS 12, as you guys know, on every single one of my devices, the iPhone 10, the 8 Plus, all these other iPhones I have that support it. And I realized something, that I don't think the battery life is as good as it was on iOS 11. And what I mean by that is, I don't think the battery life is as good as it was on iOS 11. I don't think it needs any more explanation. And the reason I say that is because I found myself being very low on battery by the end of the day. Now, it could be my specific phone, it could be the iPhone 10, but I want to show you guys that my battery life, overall, my battery health is still it's still on 100%, you know? So it's not like this phone is very, very low on battery size or anything. And I'm not too sure what's going on. It's not horrible, but I don't think it's as good as it was on iOS 11. I realized that on iOS 11, I could go throughout the whole entire day, and I didn't necessarily have my iPhone 10 on iOS 11 for too long. I maybe had it for like a week or two. Even in that span of time, before I went to the iOS 12 betas, I was able to test it, and it didn't find myself charging it as much. And I'm not saying it's horrible or anything like that, but I do think that as a whole, it is a little bit of a decrease. And going one step further, I didn't really notice this until I got the iPhone 7 Plus back in house, and I had the 7 Plus for a very long time as a daily driver, and I used it and I enjoyed it. I didn't really have any problems with it. I don't even know why I switched, honestly, but I realized that the battery life isn't as good on here either. And what's crazy is that I went to check my battery life or health thing, and I have 89% on here, which is exactly the amount that I had on my other daily driver before I switched it out. And my battery life wasn't that bad either. On this specific phone, I don't find it being horrible either. I think it's more so the iPhone 10 series. But as a whole, I did a lot of battery tests on my second channel as well, Alpaca, and I noticed that for some strange reason, the iPhone SE was getting better battery life than the iPhone 7 or iPhone 6 or iPhone 6s in terms of standby time, and I think overall screen time as well. So I found that kind of strange, but I don't think that's a really good thing for the iPhone SE's part, but that's very strange. So I'll say as a whole, I don't think the battery life is completely horrible, but I am a little bit sad that they didn't really focus more on battery life. And I say this all the time too, because, you know, especially with the iPhone XS and XS Max, more specifically the iPhone XS, the battery life on that, I mean, people have done tests and they're saying sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. But I think a lot of that could have something to do with software. And I feel like hopefully eventually Apple could go out and focus more on the battery life of a specific thing. I know they were way more focused on stability, and I'll give them that. I would rather probably give up some battery life for some stability. But at the end of the day, I was still kind of upset that was the case. I'll start doing more battery tests if you guys want on the iPhone 10 and see how it goes. But it's very weird. I was expecting it to be a little bit better just because it's a newer software, and usually every time that happens, you know, I found iOS 11 battery life wasn't even that good, if I'm being completely honest. And the fact that this one just isn't as good, like it's even if it was better, I wouldn't be able to notice it just because it's very, very low. But I will say as a whole, and if you guys remember the first couple of videos I did of iOS 12, I said battery life was the same, if not a little bit better. I think it's the same, if not a little bit worse, recently how I've been testing it. It's not 100 times worse or anything like that, but like I said, when I was testing it on my 10 or my 7 Plus or even my 5S or other phones like that, or the 5S is understandable just because it's an older phone, but my 7, my 6, all those phones, I noticed that it wasn't really that good, I'll be honest. And I had random shutdowns too on my iPhone 6. So when I was testing the battery life, it actually randomly shut down on me twice, and so that was really weird. And I'm pretty sure that was a software problem because the battery health on this thing isn't that bad either. The phone's dead now, but the battery life wasn't that bad on here. I think this is still probably over 90%. So that was very strange that happened, and hopefully that doesn't become an occurring problem. There's really nothing wrong with this phone. I didn't drop it. It's like has nothing wrong with it. But if it keeps shutting down like that, it's going to be really hard to test battery life on that. But so those are pretty much my battery life problems with iOS 12. There's not a lot of problems with iOS 12. I like it. And it's not really a huge thing that's going to affect a lot of people. But it is a little bit sad just because I'm really hoping, you know, the battery life can get better. You know, phone manufacturers are so focused on fixing the cameras and of these phones and all these things. And I really wish they focused more on battery life, to be honest, at this point. But that is pretty much it. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit that like button, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber we get really does count. If you guys want to see more battery tests on all these phones, make sure you check out my second channel. I was literally just waiting for iOS 12.0.1 to come out, but they still haven't released it. So I guess we're going to have to wait until Monday for them to release it. But definitely check out the links in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel, like I said, Alpaca. That's also linked down there. So make sure you check those out. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.